Did you know that Kylie Jenner was accused of being a modern-day slave driver? Today you'll learn about 10 celebrities who have been accused of mistreating their employees. Here, we'll introduce you to stars whose fame has gone to their heads and who now carry themselves with a diva attitude, treating their staff like slaves or second-class citizens. Let's watch it. It's fascinating. Jennifer Lopez. The superstar born in one of New York's humblest neighborhoods seems to have another side beyond the spotlight, that of a ruthless and demanding boss. According to those who worked for her, J.Lo doesn't just demand absurd tasks at any hour of the day, but also treats her staff as if they were second-class citizens. This all happens under a self-proclaimed superiority that contrasts with a career that, despite her commercial success, hasn't earned her top industry awards like a Grammy, Oscar, or Golden Globe. The ego of the on-the-floor singer has caused multiple uncomfortable incidents, such as when a flight attendant recalled that when she approached J.Lo to ask what she wanted to drink, the diva didn't even bother to look at her. Instead, she ordered her assistant to speak for her, saying she wanted a Diet Coke. Another particularly humiliating moment occurred at a hotel in Germany, when a maid timidly asked for an autograph. Not only did J.Lo refuse, but the next day the maid was fired after the singer complained. Despite building a girl-next-door narrative, it seems the artist has forgotten her roots, like the time when a group of workers was doing renovations at her house, and she deliberately ignored them, not even bothering to say, "Good morning." Jennifer's former assistants also don't have positive things to say and claim that working for her is a constant challenge, as they have to be available 24/7 to satisfy her whims, all while enduring being treated like they're invisible when she's in a bad mood. Kendall Jenner. While she is often seen as the most discreet of her famous family, Kendall has repeatedly shown that she's not exempt from displaying diva-like attitudes. In 2014, the supermodel made headlines when she got into a scandal at a New York restaurant with her friend Hailey Bieber. Kendall ordered alcohol despite being underage, and when the staff refused, she reacted with fury. The situation quickly escalated when she left the place without paying the bill or leaving a tip. Feeling insulted, the waiter chased her out into the street to demand payment, but in response, Kendall threw a handful of bills in his face before walking off without a single apology. This isn't the only incident that tarnished her image, as employees at Los Angeles Airport noted that the model has a cold, distant attitude and can't even manage a simple "good morning." In conclusion, her public profile might suggest she's more humble than her sisters, but these stories indicate that fame has taken its toll on her, revealing a side many would rather ignore. Kylie Jenner. From being the youngest member of the Kardashian-Jenner dynasty, Kylie went on to amass a fortune of $710 million thanks to her super-successful cosmetics brand. But beyond the shine of lipsticks and advertising campaigns that dominate social media, there lies a dark narrative few know about. In the shadows of her success are the voices of workers from her factory in Oxnard, California, who accuse her of being a modern-day slave driver. Employee accounts paint a disturbing picture, with some admitting that when Kylie visits the factory, her presence turns into a silent spectacle. Workers are strictly ordered to remain silent, avoid eye contact, and never speak to her. One worker even mentioned that she's not a boss, but rather a queen who ignores her subjects. However, the distant treatment is just the tip of the iceberg. With miserable wages, endless hours, no health care, and constant pressure to meet market demand, many employees had no choice but to quit. In fact, one former worker recalls being reprimanded for not meeting the required speed, even though her training consisted of just a 5-minute talk. Others complained of headaches caused by chemical fumes in the plant, but their complaints were never addressed by the company. At the same time, the brand's ethics have been questioned, as confirmed by Kylie's former housekeepers, who were forced to test products, even when it involved allergy risks. One of them claimed that, to Kylie, they were as replaceable as any makeup brush and made it clear that human dignity was never considered in her treatment of employees. Madonna. The material girl boasts a fortune of $850 million, making her one of the most successful artists of all time. But behind the scenes, her reputation as a boss leaves much to be desired, as evidenced during her 2004 concert tour. Dancers who brought her shows to life faced a bewildering reality. Not only were they paid late, but when they finally received their pay, it was much less than agreed. Lawsuits for unpaid wages quickly followed, involving a concerning number of employees who, feeling insulted by the unfair treatment, chose to resign, unable to tolerate what they described as a complete lack of regard for the human effort that made her concerts possible. Recently, Madonna found herself in another scandal. In 2023, she proudly posted photos from a photo shoot for V magazine on her Instagram, but also revealed that no one on the team who made the photos possible was paid for their work. Indignation exploded when furious comments from netizens reminded her that with her vast wealth, there was no excuse for letting her team work for free, especially in the middle of a global economic crisis caused by the pandemic. As a result of this incident, Madonna earned a reputation as a billionaire who demands excellence, but forgot that those who make her greatness possible also deserve respect and recognition. Mariah Carey. The artist made history from the start of her career, when her first single, Vision of Love, debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. This achievement made her the first female artist to reach the top with her debut song. But unfortunately, success and fame went to her head. It wasn't long before her extravagant demands and airs of royalty were confirmed by her employees, who revealed that she only hires personal assistants who are single and have no children, as the job requires absolute availability 24/7. Nannies also faced grueling hours after the birth of the singer's twins in 2011, working up to 100 hours a week, almost 3 times the standard work week. This was just the beginning, as one of her most eccentric demands occurs before her concerts. To avoid foot fatigue from wearing high heels, Mariah demands to be pushed in a wheelchair by her assistant, which many interpreted as a symbol of her sense of grandeur. Lady Gaga. In the entertainment world, the New York diva has 2 sides. On one hand, she's celebrated for her charitable work and kindness toward her fans. On the other hand, the echoes from her employees paint a very different picture, calling her a boss whose ego grew in tandem with her fame, leaving behind a trail of complaints and conflicts. One of the most infamous episodes of this duality occurred early in her career when she hired her friend Jennifer O'Neill as her personal assistant. What started as a promising experience quickly turned into a work nightmare, as after 2 years of endless shifts with no breaks, Jennifer quit, exhausted by the diva's incessant demands. In 2011, she sued Gaga for $393,000, claiming 7,168 hours of unpaid overtime. Gaga's response was sharp, calling her ungrateful and justifying the lack of overtime pay with perks like private jet flights and access to exclusive celebrity parties. However, during the trial, several details came to light that shook the public image of the singer when the former assistant revealed that one of her tasks was to share the bed with Gaga, as she couldn't stand sleeping alone. She also had to be available at any time to keep Gaga's wardrobe impeccable. Though the lawsuit didn't go to trial and both parties settled privately, rumors suggest that the agreement involved hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep Jennifer from revealing more about the darker, exploitative side of the artist. Lindsay Lohan. In 2008, the star of Mean Girls was making headlines more for her scandals and legal troubles than for her acting career. During this tumultuous period, her assistant Jenny Monroe faced the challenge of working for a star on the brink of collapse. Jenny confessed that she wanted to quit, not only because of the constant chaos, but also because she feared one day she'd have to deal with the tragedy of losing Lindsay under her care. Jenny became the voice of reason in a sea of self-destruction, trying to prevent the young actress from sinking further. Several years later, Gavin Doyle took over as assistant, and his loyalty was tested in unimaginable ways. When Lindsay was arrested for driving under the influence, Gavin rushed to pay her bail. But instead of showing gratitude, the star took the car keys and left him stranded in the middle of the night, without concern for how he would get home. In 2014, things reached their lowest point when Lindsay fired another assistant citing financial problems, without thanking them for staying by her side during her 6 rehab stays. But her bad temper wasn't limited to her staff. During a stay at a resort in Greece, 2 waitresses became her victims when she threatened to fire them simply because she didn't like the color of their shoes. Naomi Campbell. The supermodel who walked for top fashion designers has a history of beauty and glamour spanning over 30 years in the public eye. but she also hides a dark record of conflicts and violence. Throughout her career, she has been accused of assault 11 times, 4 of which led to convictions between 1998 and 2009. The first public incident occurred in 1998, when her assistant Georgina Galanis accused her of a violent attack. According to the testimony, Naomi grabbed her by the neck, hit her with a phone, shook her, and then threw her onto a piece of furniture. The scene left her victim trembling and crying, but despite her lawyer claiming that the model was a person of good character, the evidence was damning. To avoid jail time, Naomi opted for an out-of-court financial settlement. Instead of realizing the severity of the situation, this incident was just the beginning. Shortly after, another assistant named Vanessa Frisbee filed a similar complaint, but Naomi retaliated with a lawsuit for breach of contract. While the case was dismissed, the pattern of aggressive behavior continued, such as in 2004 when Simone Craig accused Naomi of holding her hostage in a Los Angeles hotel and throwing a phone at her. That same year, her housekeeper also accused her of assault, and once again, Naomi avoided jail time after reaching a settlement. In 2005, the trend of using phones as weapons continued when another assistant was hit with a jeweled phone. But the most serious incident occurred in 2006 when she threw a BlackBerry at Anna Scolavino's head, causing injuries that required 4 stitches. As a result of her violent behavior, she was sentenced to 5 days of community service and anger management classes. But far from stopping, in 2007, she made headlines again for assaulting British Airways staff during a flight, resulting in a $4,470 fine, 200 hours of community service, and an alleged lifetime ban from flying with the airline. Ellen DeGeneres. Toxic was the word used by employees to describe the work environment on the set of Ellen's show. Cameramen, assistants, producers, and other team members all claimed that behind the warm smile and friendly image of the host, there was an authoritarian villain who turned their workdays into a living hell. One of the most shocking stories came from a former employee who, after attempting to take his own life, took a month's leave to address his mental health. Instead of finding understanding or support, he received the worst possible blow, a dismissal letter stating that his position had been eliminated. Another case revealed that a worker lost her job after missing work due to a car accident, while another employee was reprimanded for opening a donation page to cover medical bills as the insurance provided by the show wasn't enough to cover her hospitalization. The situation reached absurd levels during the COVID-19 pandemic when the show moved to Ellen's luxurious Malibu mansion. In several segments, the host compared staying confined at home to being in prison. Meanwhile, dozens of employees were laid off, facing an uncertain future without means to pay their mortgages or rent, risking homelessness. The gap between the reality of her workers and her $500 million fortune only fueled further criticism of her lack of empathy and leadership. Ultimately, the constant criticism of Ellen for the poor working conditions led to the cancellation of her show and ruined her reputation in the entertainment industry. Rihanna. Though the Diamond singer projects an image of charisma and generosity, those who have worked for her paint a completely different picture. According to several former employees during her turbulent breakup with Chris Brown, Rihanna became incredibly demanding and temperamental, even asking for absurd tasks at unreasonable hours. One assistant recalled being forced to find a specific colored notebook and a bucket in the middle of the night with no explanation. Another particularly humiliating incident occurred before a concert, when Rihanna refused to go on stage until she had her favorite dish of carne asada. The assistant traveled for over an hour to get the food, but when she returned, it was cold, as expected. Instead of showing understanding, the artist exploded in a verbal attack, blaming the assistant for not meeting her impossible expectations. Former workers continue to assert that bad moods are a constant, especially after nights of partying when the hangover sets in, turning Rihanna into a nearly unrecognizable person who vents her frustration on the team around her. Now, let me know which of these celebrities you think behave the worst. Share your opinion in the comments. Here are 2 options that you'll surely love.